The life of an addict is sold cheaply with every day and every dose. However, our lifestyles too also put us at risk. It's not just the using that's a big risk. What do I mean by that? Well, a lot of us, we steal to get our fix. And if you're out there, committing crimes, you're likely to go to jail. Well, what happens when you're in jail a week? You probably lose your job. What happens when you lose your job? You can't pay rent. You become homeless, as so many addicts do. Active addiction is a smoldering death wish. Each of us courted death every time we used. And anytime you went out to go rob somebody, right? People have to protect their homes. In recovery, the first pattern we change is the pattern of using. Staying clean is the start of our journey into life, but our self-destruction behavior usually went far deeper than just our using. Even in recovery, we may still treat ourselves as if we're worthless. It's really hard, and I even struggle still sometimes. I still see myself through the lens of an addict, even though I'm not in active addiction. But that's something that's super hard to change because, we've been told we're bad people, or we're not a good mom, or we're not a good sister, whatever it is. And we believe those lies. But anybody can change. If me and my husband can get sober, so can you. I promise you that. Even in recovery, we may still treat ourselves as worthless. When we treat ourselves badly, we feel badly. Makes sense. And when we feel badly, we seek relief. Maybe even in our old ways, which would be using. That's why we have to learn coping skills. For me, that's working out, because you release endorphins. They make you happy. You feel better after a workout. You might be tired, but you feel better, at least for me, and I promise you will too. If you're getting stressed out or having anxiety, do 12 push-ups, and I bet you won't be anxious anymore. You might be a little tired, but you'll feel a little bit better. And push yourself. If you can only do 12, try to do 20 the next time. Make it a little game. Push yourself, because in recovery, you have to push yourself. You just have to. When we treat, or I'm sorry, I already read that. You could read. That's another thing. I've been getting into reading lately. I get tired when I read, though. So I try to read later in the day, to make me tired for bed. But that's a coping skill. Grab a good book. Go get some good NA literature. Or it doesn't even have to be NA. It could be just recovery literature in general. Or Bible. Whatever. Something, we have to find coping skills. We have to learn to do things that are positive to help us feel better. Because we don't want to feel bad. Nobody wants to feel bad. However, I will say we have to feel, deal, and heal. Because once you take those drugs away, all that junk that you've pushed down for decades will come back up. I promise you that. My mom passed away in 2014, and I didn't cry on her birthday until about 2 years ago because I got off of Suboxone. I'm back on it now. But I had gotten off of Suboxone, and about a year off of it, I had a breakdown on her birthday, and her birthday is actually coming up. September 9th is my mom's birthday. I think she'd be maybe 50, 51, maybe somewhere in there if she were still alive. Anyways, back on topic. We have to find positive things to do. And if you can't find something, maybe start drawing. You might surprise yourself. You might be able to really draw good. Or painting. Painting's easier than drawing. Drop painting is really fun. I don't remember what it is you put in the cup. It's like a Floetrol or something like that. And then you put your paint in the cup, and then you flip the cup, put it on the canvas. Oh, it's super neat. It's called drop painting. Look it up. Back to the reading. Choosing recovery means choosing life. We decide each day that we want to live and be free. Each time we avoid self-destructive behavior, we choose recovery. Now, what are some self-destructive behaviors besides using? Picking fights or pushing people away, neglecting basic needs, risky decision-making, like having unsafe intimacy. That's a big one. Isolation and withdrawal, usually because of fear or shame. You're ashamed to go to your family, around your family, because you've done so many terrible things, or you've robbed them, whatever. Those are things you have to learn to let go. Now, amends are important, but listen, not everybody wants your amends. All you can do is try and then move on. That's my suggestion for you. Because not all family members want to hear sorry, okay? They've heard that enough, right? But it's important not to isolate in recovery. That's a negative behavior, no? Um, but just for today, I will choose life by choosing recovery. I will take care of myself. So I thought today was a really, really good reading. Page 249. Change from self-destructive patterns of life became necessary. And that's true. And again, it's not just the using, it's the pushing people away, the isolating, not taking care of yourself. Take care of your basic needs: food, water, shelter, social life. And the social life will come later on. Start going to meetings. And if meetings aren't for you, that's okay. Maybe go to church. Maybe find a book club. I'm just spitballing here. But it's important not to isolate in recovery, because in active addiction, we isolated enough, We only hung out with other people who used because that's what we did. And those weren't good people to be around. They didn't do anything positive to help you with your life. All they did was tear you down, right? A means to an end. That's usually, we have no friends when we're in active addiction. We're all a means to an end to somebody else. But let's go ahead and do the serenity prayer. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference just for today. And always discernment. Hope everybody has a blessed rest of their Thursday.